Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Sandeman Street podcast, a podcast about Dundee and Dundee United from fans of both clubs. I'm Andrew, and this week I'm joined by my regular co-host Jack. Jack, how are you today?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. It's Monday night. Thankfully Monday's done. Probably the hardest day of the week, isn't it? Get that over and done with.
Maybe for you, my week's a bit different work week, but for the regular person, yeah.
Well, this is true. As usual, I do like to do this on the beginning of every and end of every episode just to plug ourselves. Could you give our socials a follow? On X or Twitter, we are at Sandeman ST Pod. That is at Sandeman ST Pod. And on Instagram, we are at the Sandeman Street Pod. At the Sandeman Street Pod. If you are listening on YouTube, can you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then just in general, tell pals, tell family members, tell work colleagues, anybody who's looking for a new podcast to listen to, if they like listening to a couple of boys speaking absolute garbage about Dundee United and this week Scotland, then they're in luck with us. Talking of Scotland, Jack, 2 wins out of two at home at Hampden this week. On Thursday, it was a 3-1 victory against Greece. Yesterday, Sunday, it was a 2-1 victory against Belarus. Starting off with the Greece game, what are your thoughts?
The performance wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. Lucky not to go 1-0 down in the first half with Pavlidis missing that absolute sitter from 3 yards out. I felt all the goals were scored were poor mistakes from Greece, not clearing the lines. Obviously, the third goal, the keeper messes up completely. But a win's a win, and it's against pretty good opposition, so you're always going to take it no matter the performance.
Absolutely, and although Greece have now ultimately dropped out of contention for qualification with defeat last night in Copenhagen, I do think that they are a very strong team. They've got some very good players. I mean, on Thursday, the boy Solis, I really, really like him. I think he's a great little player. Um, Last week we were with Martin and we were speaking about the wee right winger who terrorised us back in March at Hampden, and I was saying it was that Constantilius, wasn't him? It's Carestus, but he came on and showed some flashes of what he's all about. Angus Gunn had a really good save from him, I think just before we went 3-1 up. Uh, but look, we didn't play well. We'll move on to Sunday in a bit, but we didn't play well on Thursday. But we won, and we won against a good team who a lot of people would probably think are better than us. So it's not to be sniffed at. I mean, there's been a lot of complaining, a lot of media uproar, fan uproar about the performances this week, but we've got 6 points. We're arguably 4 points away from qualifying automatically. So I think people need to kind of take a step back and realise where we are just now. We're not playing. We didn't play very well in this window of international games, but we're in a great position, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a great position. I don't think anyone could have complained at the start of the group when it started that if it were second place, you wouldn't be happy. Look, to get the results is obviously the most important thing. The performances, as you say, haven't been there, but you take them, and it puts in a great chance to get to the World Cup.
Yeah, I think personally we're stuck between two different formations, and I don't think Steve Clark really knows which one to pick. So, and the reason I say that is because you have Tierney and you have Doak, and both of them cause good problems, not bad problems, but good problems and a good headache for Steve Clark to have because with Tierney, you can go back to playing the back three, stroke back five. But if you play Tierney in a back three, you're really kind of losing having wingers where Doak would play. So to get Doak into the team, he's going with a back four, and Tierney never started either of the matches, came on as a sub in both times. I think, I, if it was me, I know that Doak is so exciting. He's one of, obviously, our most exciting young players coming through at the moment. And as a winger, just really because of the position he plays and because of his age, the consistency is not there yet. And it probably will never be there completely because he's a winger, he's a dribbler, but he's so exciting. He'll make something happen. But I just feel like with the rest of the players we have, it would be more beneficial to go back to a back five. You would obviously have Suter, maybe probably say it was Suter, Hanley, and Tierney, and then you had Hickey and Robertson as the wing backs. It served us so well in qualification for the Euros in Germany. I just think the problem with playing that comes with when Tierney's not there, because we've not really got another player to come in that's like him. When you've got Tierney playing on the left side of the three, he almost kind of interchanges with Robertson, and both have shots around and going forward. One of them will drop, one of them will go. It's slightly different on the other side, purely because Robertson and Tierney are so good offensively. But I understand that when you're playing that, you're having to take Doak out of the team. Now, Doak wasn't great on Thursday against Greece, but he was playing on the wrong side. I know that nowadays wingers tend to get the ball and want to come in the pitch and go for the goal, whereas he's proper old fashioned and he just wants to get the ball, drive at the left back and get to the byline. And on Sunday he was far better. I mean, his final product wasn't there, but I always feel like with wingers, as they get older and as they get more experience, the final product comes with that. Just now he's raw. I didn't even think he's played 100 games of professional football yet, and he's going. He'll get better and better and better. But at the moment, I just think that he's a great option to come off the bench. But who am I to go against Steve Clarke? What do you think?
I can't say I know much about it. I think by what you're saying, Aaron Doak should be on the bench. Tierney should be in a back three. If Tierney's not available, then Doak will start on the wing and play at four at the back. Yeah.
The reason I say that is because what seems to be happening is that you'll play Doak one side and he'll play McGinn the other. Now, and then what he was doing was he was playing McTominay off of Adams. McTominay has been playing there for Napoli to great success. Now, what I think happens in that instance is that you're totally taking away McGinn's ability in the middle of the pitch. McGinn has played wide a lot for Scotland, but McGinn's a central player. Why I'm saying go to the back three or back five, whatever way you look at it, it's because we are strongest at left back, yeah, but central midfield is our strongest area of the pitch. You've got Billy Gilmore, you've got Lewis Ferguson, John McGinn, Scott McTominay. All these players are in our strongest area of the pitch, and you're losing out on one of them in John McGinn because you're playing him wide, because obviously you're playing Doak one side, somebody's got to play the other side, and we don't have any other wingers in the squad. I mean, Ryan Christie could fill in there, but I'm not Ryan Christie's biggest fan. But Ryan Christie's a central midfielder that he's been playing as effectively a six for Bournemouth, and he's been playing very well for them. And I don't think their fans really quite understand how their opinion on him differs so much to Scotland fans' opinion on him, because he's been playing so well for them. But when you don't have, if you were to have McGinn, McTominay, Ferguson and Gilmore all in a central area with your width coming from your wing backs, I think that suits us far better.
Yeah, if I was to look at the team and I was Steve Clarke, I would want McGinn, McTominay, and Ferguson to be in the middle of the pitch, because I think they're some of our strongest players, and you're not gaining the full ability of McGinn if he's playing it on the wing. So I think you're probably spot on there with regards to sacrificing Doak for a bit more like rigidity and strength in the middle of the pitch. Also, you've got, like you say, the strength of Christie being there as well if he's playing well for Bournemouth. I see him more as a attacking midfielder than anything, but down at Bournemouth he's obviously playing as a six, like you're saying, and he's doing well, so he's another good option to have there. And I think Doak, as you say, is the better option off the bench. I think late on in games you'll have legs, you'll be able to run at defenders who are tired, and that's probably where his main game-changing ability comes into play, because he maybe doesn't have that end product yet. It'll come with age, but he has the ability to drive at players and put defenders under pressure. So I think when a defender's tired after playing for 70 odd minutes, I think that's the perfect time to put him on. So I think you're right there with regards to Tierney as well.
Yeah, and I think what I'm saying is that when you're playing at teams of equal ability or better than us, it's probably the best. But when you're playing against, like yesterday, for example, Belarus are shite, right? They're the games that you would then go to for and you'd get Doak in the team to terrorise them, right? And they should have done that yesterday. We'll obviously touch on it in a second. But when you're playing against Greece, when you're playing against Denmark, teams who are of our level or better, then I think that the solid of the back five. But I think Steve Clarke's probably had his fingers burnt by playing that in the Euros, and obviously we didn't do well when we got to the Euros. We done well in getting there, but once we got there with that formation, we didn't do very well. I'd argue that, yeah, they got beat from a pretty mediocre, by their standards, Germany team very convincingly. It was on the opening night of the Euros. We were never winning that game, no matter what happened. But to get beaten the way we did was a bit of a disaster. We then play really well against a really good Switzerland team, but Tierney gets injured in that game with 20 minutes to go or something like that. Now, it's okay to bring, I think you bring McKenna on in that instance, and it's okay to do that with 20 minutes to go. But the next game, when we're playing Hungary, and obviously we need to win, that's when he should have changed it, and he ultimately didn't. And because when we've got Tierney, as I say, him and Robertson interchange, and one will set, one goes, and they'll swap over and both have turns, but there's no like for like in that. Scott McKenna's not doing that. So that, I think that would be when you would argue that you would go to a 4. Now, ultimately in the Nations League games following that, he did go with a 4, with a lot of hard games, Portugal, Croatia, Poland. But we had a respectable campaign. We finished third. We held Portugal to a 0-0 draw at Hampden. We won in Poland. We beat Croatia at Hampden. We really should have snuck a point in Croatia. So, a respectable Nations League campaign. There was a bit of a disaster in the playoff against Greece. A bit of a disaster in the summer friendly against Iceland. But in the games that matter, in qualifying, Steve Clarke has got a fairly decent record. He's never lost a home World Cup qualifying game. The last time we lost a home World Cup qualifying game was in like 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, he does have a good record when it comes to qualifying for these tournaments, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've lost something like one of the last 20 World Cup qualifying games. That's an unbelievable record for a country like us.
Yeah,
and you could
it's hard to find.
Throw in games against England and Denmark and Austria, and throw in games against teams like that into that start. So,
yeah.
I know that not all of them were Steve Clarke's team, but it's a great record to have. Now, last month, and these two games, we'll move on now to Belarus. The game yesterday, it was dull, it was drab. There was a lot of pressure on the game one, because you're expected to beat them, and two, we needed to beat them by a few goals to get their goal difference up. Now, you see yesterday, see if we had went and beat them like 5 or 6-0, even then we're still 3 or 4 goals off Denmark's goal difference. So really, getting the 3 points is what mattered yesterday, in my opinion. I think we're something like 8 goals off them in goal difference. Now, yeah, you could say when we played them last game, if we were to beat them, it's a double swing because it's affecting us and them at the same time. But are we going to go and beat Denmark 2 or 3-0?
Probably
Unlikely.
not.
Unlikely. When we played them 3 or 4 years ago at Hampden, I was at the match. We beat them 2-0, but it was a really good first half performance from Scotland. They got themselves 1-0 up, and then the second goal was in the breakaway. It was a meaningless game for them, and half their team was missing. This time they're coming to Hampden. If they're obviously going to beat Belarus at the game before, we're away to Greece. If they come to Hampden and they need a result, they're obviously going to bring their full team. They're bringing their A game. It's a totally different game. So it's a difficult game. But I honestly do believe that we are more than capable of getting the points we required to get qualification automatically. We're more than capable of going away and boring the tits off Greece and getting a draw. More than capable. You only have to look back at the Denmark game last month. See, this is the thing. There's so much negativity surrounding these two performances. We've got 6 points from both of them. I think there's more negativity coming from yesterday than Thursday, but all in all, still got 6 points. You only have to look back at September's international break. They go away to Copenhagen and they get a point against a very good Denmark team and looked more likely to win the game, in all honesty. So there's nothing to fear there. I honestly think that if we were to get, well, if we do get 4 points, we'll finish top of the group. So I don't think that's. I know people will say, well, it's Scotland. They'll find a way to muck it up. I accept that, but this team is more than capable of that.
Yeah, well, like you say, the record in the last 20 games, we've only lost once in World Cup qualification. So it clearly shows that we have the ability to beat teams. We've played really good teams, like you mentioned, Portugal, good team. Germany, obviously, it's Germany. You're not going to put in a great performance against them, but we've played them. Switzerland, we'll put in a good performance against them. We're clearly capable of getting results against these bigger teams. It's just a matter of if Steve Clarke puts out the right team for that match. With regards to the Belarus game, he probably never put out the right team towards that match. He should have probably went for it a bit more, got a few more goals. Instead, it was quite placid. It was like you said, a boring game of football, and the team wasn't the right team for that occasion. But Scotland have more than enough ability in their team to get the result against Denmark and get the result against Greece away from home. So it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, there's no reason to be completely down just now because we'll have picked up 6 points, and that's the most important thing.
100%. 100%. I know that Shea Adams scored yesterday and he took his goal very well. I would have probably went with Dykes. I think you've seen in his cameo on Thursday night when he come on for whatever 10 minutes or whatever it was, that Dykes is far more suited to a team like ours where we tend to go long to the striker, and he's much more of a focal point. He'll take the ball in, he'll bully your centre half. And people are criticising Adams for not doing that, but it's not really Adams' game. I think Adams is more of an on the shoulder striker. And Shea Adams is no mug, by the way. He's played in Serie A and he's played countless games in the English Premier League, so he's obviously got ability, and you've seen it. And he took his goal very well yesterday. But I think Dykes would have been the better player to have yesterday. I would have went with Lennon Miller in the middle of the park. I think you would have got that confidence that he comes with. He's obviously a young man, just moved to Serie A at a big club in Udinese. We know what Kenny McLean's about. He's a reliable squad player. I mean, suppose he's good to have there if required, but I think Lennon Miller alongside Billy Gilmore yesterday would have been the way to go. Uh, as I say, especially in the first half, Ben Doak was electric. Countless times he got to the byline, but his final ball was lacking. Uh, if he finds a pass one or two times there, it's 3-0 at half time and the game's comfortable. So as much as it was a negative ending to it, I mean, I left Hampden at about 86, 87 minutes. So it wasn't until I actually got in my car and turned the radio on that I realised that they'd even scored. And I've never seen the goal, I've not seen the highlights back either. But there's moments in that, especially in the first half, where if something slightly different happened, the game's then beyond Belarus for half time. The game's comfortable. A strange VAR check, by the way, Jack, where we get what we think is going to be a penalty. There's a long check for a penalty. The ref goes over to the screen and comes back and gives them a free kick. Now, apparently, it's turned out that Che Adams has actually handballed it in the build-up before then getting fouled, or there was a handball. But a strange one. I've never seen that happen. But I just think that, yeah, we need to call out bad performances when we see them. But the level of negativity surrounding the national team today, last night, is way over the top for me, especially when you consider that 4 points and we're in America.
Yeah, the negativity is surprising. Well, it's not really surprising. It's quite common for Scottish fans to slag the team, saying it's not good enough. But we've got to remember who we are. We're a country of only 5 million people, and to get in these positions, it's not really expected of us, considering we're history. We've not been to a World Cup since '98, so I don't think anyone had any expectations of us making the World Cup, really, previously. So I don't think fans have a real valid reason to complain. Yes, there was the performance wasn't great, but like I say, the points are the points. You've got the points, and you've just got to look forward to the next international break now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Moving on now, we'll move on to some club football. It feels like club football's been away for ages, doesn't it? I mean, it does to
Yeah.
me anyway. But a tough weekend in store for our clubs this weekend, Jack. But since you guys come up first, we'll speak about United. Ibrox.
Yeah.
Rangers still managerless. That wasn't looking like it would be the case, but the news broke just at the beginning of the weekend there that Steven Gerrard has turned down the opportunity to come back to Rangers.
Yeah.
First of all, your thoughts on that?
I'm not really surprised. I think he was obviously on very good money in Saudi Arabia. He probably sees it as a bit of a step back. Yes, Saudi Arabia is obviously not the best league, but I think any manager that's left the club to move to a bigger club will feel like it's a bit of a step back when they're moving back to the same club as before. I've seen they've been linked with a couple of managers. Got linked with a boy from Germany who's since turned him down as well. He's saying for Union Saint-Gaulois in Belgium. But I've also just seen recently, about an hour or so ago, that Graham Potter's been linked with the job, which would be interesting. I've seen also just the odds that Slaven Bilic, Danny Roll and Kevin Muscat are being considered for it as well, or that's what the odds suggest. So it'll be interesting to see if they've got a manager in time for the game. And if they do, I don't think they'll make that much of a change for the team, but they might get a wee managerial bounce that comes with getting a new manager.
It would obviously have to be well, maybe not a quick turnaround, given it's only Monday, for them to appoint a manager by Saturday. You never know. maybe if they get one in tomorrow or Wednesday, but I mean, usually if they were to get one tomorrow or maybe stretching into Wednesday a wee bit, you would probably have an idea of what's going on.
Mm.
But I did see the link for Slaven Bilic. I think that's an interesting one. Graham Potter is an interesting one as well. I think he'd probably be a good appointment for them. But I didn't think the fans are having the boy Roll or the Danny Roll.
No, no. I mean, to be fair, been done pretty well with Sheffield Wednesday. They didn't have the backing by the owners. The owners basically just left the club, like let them just run on what they were making. Wasn't putting any investment in it. But he done well to keep them up for 2 years. But yeah, it's not really the caliber of appointment I'd expect from Rangers, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think they're a wee bit sick and tired of project and inverted comma managers from England and the Championship in particular, Russell Martin, Michael Beale, etc. I think they're wanting a more tried and tested, proven manager. I'd imagine that Graham Potter would fill that role. He's been manager of Chelsea. Bilic has obviously been there and done it. At a lot of different clubs. He's managed Croatia for a long time. So, yeah, interesting. But moving on to more important stuff, and that's United. What do you make of their trip to Ibrox on Saturday? Do you think they're in with a chance? Do you think they're going to get battered? And obviously Rangers haven't started the season very well, but they're either going to have a new manager or they're going to have a caretaker, whoever that is. What do you think going into Saturday?
It'll be interesting. We obviously didn't have a great couple of weeks against Kelly and Livy. Maybe the players will be a bit more up for it, considering it's Rangers at Ibrox. There's going to be a lot more fans there than normal for a club like us. But it'll be interesting to see. I think, honestly, using my Mystic Jack abilities, I think I'm going to go with a draw. No, I'm going to go with a defeat. I'm going to go like a narrow 1-0 defeat. But it'll be interesting to see. I think we've got most of our players back now. Graham's still out injured, I think, and maybe one more. But I think we're at basically full strength with regards to the team. So we should be able to put out a good team. But I think at Ibrox, it's a tough ask. If they got a new manager, like I say, they might have a managerial bounce that they get with that. So it's going to be a difficult game. And I think maybe Rangers might have too much for us, but I'm not like shutting down a point or a victory completely.
Mate, if I was United, I'd be going there with loads of confidence. I would be going there and going for them from the first minute.
I would have if Russell Martin was manager, but because he's no longer there, it depends who they bring in, obviously, as caretaker or whatever, but I think the players might be more up for it.
Who's the caretaker manager, do you know?
I don't actually know, I've not seen anyone.
No, I don't know either. To assume it'll probably be one of Martin's backroom staff. Unless maybe you put the B team manager in.
Yeah, maybe.
But, I mean, if it's one of Russell Martin's staff, what's going to change?
But that's true. And if it is one of Russell Martin's staff, I'd be going for it.
Yeah.
I think we should go for it anyway, but I think Goodwin's quite a pragmatic manager and that you'd rather sit back against the bigger clubs.
I understand that if you went through Rangers' squad, a United squad, and then went man for man, you'd probably pick 9 players, maybe more, in favour of Rangers. I don't know if that's fair or not. I didn't really know Rangers' strongest 11, and I didn't really know United's strongest 11, but given that they're at Rangers, I would probably assume that that's probably what it is, and they're just not performing, or they're feeling the pressure too much, or whatever, but they've not won a home game, I don't think, in the league. I think the Livy game away from home is the only game they've won in the league. And if you go there and put them under pressure and see out the first 15-20 minutes, half an hour at 0-0 or better, and their fans are right on their case, you've seen it this season, they'll crumble.
Yeah, they don't seem to have that mentality.
No.
The ability to...
They can't handle the crowd, eh?
No, can't handle the pressure at all.
I noticed that big time when we played them. That when we played them at Ibrox, I went to the toilet just before they got their penalty, and I was just coming back through the concourse when they got the penalty. So I never actually seen what it was awarded for at the time, and I got in. But was standing there from obviously we scored early in the second half. From when we scored to when they got that, just before they got that penalty, I was standing there in the away end, and I was thinking, we're going to beat these, yeah. It wasn't that you felt like you were comfortable, but it just felt like the Rangers players were going within themselves. Like the crowd were on them. Every misplaced pass, every time Dundee won the ball back and broke forward, and then it would maybe go out for a Dundee throw in or something, and it was breaks in play. The crowd were on them, and they did not look like they could handle it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what it's like on Saturday. Be interesting to see if that was just a Russell Martin thing, or if it's completely the players have signed just cannot deal with the pressure of playing for a club like Rangers in front of really expectant fans. So, yeah, like I say, I'm not entirely confident. I think defeat's most likely on the cards, but you can never say never. And if they do manage to keep it level for the first half an hour or whatever first half, United have got a very good chance of maybe getting all 3 points.
Yeah, if I was any of the so-called bigger teams this season that are like playing away alright, and obviously know that the last couple haven't been great for United, but they're probably a better side than what those performances showed. I would fancy my chances. I know that Hearts was the one there. We got a draw. Somebody else got a draw, I think. But yeah, I would be going there full of confidence. You said that you think it's only Ross Graham who's still injured. I take it the boy Waters is back. I've not heard much of him since the European
Oh,
games.
no, that was the other boy. I think Waters is still injured. I think he's got a muscle injury or something. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with him, but he's still out for another couple of months, I think.
Oh, right, okay. So who would be back then?
Trapanovsky's back, Ryan Strain's back, and we've also had a couple of boys away on international, so he'll be back. So it'll be quite a strong squad. Like I say, I think it'll only be Graham and Waters. Now you mention it, that'll be injured.
Okay. So going to push you for a score. Going to start doing this thought. I thought this during the week. Going to push you for a score prediction. I'll give mine after you give yours.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 1-0 Rangers.
1-0 Rangers. I'm going to go with 1-1.
Okay.
1-1. Moving on.
You're going to keep a tally of that, yeah?
We could do. Yeah, we could do that, yeah.
Why not? Why not?
What do you want to do? Do you want to do a point for a right result, or?
Yeah, we'll do a point for a right result.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? We'll do 2 points for on the nose correct score, and
Yep.
we'll do 1 point if you get the result right but not the actual score line. So
Yep.
if you get like 3-0 Rangers, you get a point, and if I get 2-2, then I get a point. Because it's not on the nose.
Yep, that's fine.
Right, okay, we'll start that. Moving on, Dundee at home on Sunday lunchtime to Celtic. Doesn't get any easier. I know that we spoke the last time we were recording, or maybe the one before, about United's upcoming fixtures. Dundee's is not much better. If anything, we've got Celtic on Sunday, Falkirk away, Hearts away, and then Rangers at Dens.
That's tough.
That's a murder set of fixtures for a team coming off the back of that result at Pittodrie.
Yeah, it's really rough.
Especially a team that aren't great either. Like if say for example St Mirren went to Pittodrie, or Motherwell just now, or Hibs or something, they went to Pittodrie and they got beat 4-1 or 4-0, it could happen. Aberdeen could have a good day and it could beat pretty much anybody in this league 4-0, other than Celtic maybe Rangers. But if you were then one of them teams and you were looking at that run of fixtures, you would think, tough game at home at the Old Firm, tough game at Tynecastle, but fancy our chances away at Falkirk, and probably fancy our chances at home with Celtic and Rangers as well, because they've not exactly been great this season. But as a Dundee fan, I just see 0 points.
Yeah, well, against Celtic anyway, it's going to be a struggle. Through that set of fixtures, you could maybe I feel like Dundee have got quite a good record against Hearts historically. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. I feel
they
like
do.
you do
They
pretty
do.
well against them.
Compared to the other big five, well, the four of the big five, Hearts are the team that they historically get better results out of. But I mean, even then, it's like once a season.
Yeah, and the way Hearts are going just now, they don't look like they're losing to anyone really.
No, especially
Um,
not us.
no, yeah, but you never know, mate. You can pick up a win against Falkirk. You could get 3 points. If you get a point against Hearts, you've also got Rangers who will almost certainly have a new manager by then. But there's no guarantee that they'll pick up, despite what I was saying earlier. Um, and so 4 points from that set of fixtures, mate, you kind of scoff at it, really.
Oh, bite your hand off for 4 points out of
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go, exactly. I don't think it's without the realm of possibility.
that. I'm just grateful that when we go to Tynecastle, because I love an Edinburgh away day, I'll not give too much away other than that, but because we've got a monthly top five sometime this season about that. But I would go to Tynecastle pretty much any time I was able to, but I'm not able to go this time because I'm on holiday.
Hmm.
So that's probably a good thing for me, a good thing for my state of mind, and a good thing for my wallet.
Well, yeah, apart from you're going to America, so
Well, that's
I won't
true,
hurt
but
a lot
I've
that
got
much.
savings that I've been saving specifically for that. Whereas if I was going to Tynecastle, I'd just be using my everyday money.
True, that's true.
So, yeah, yeah, Celtic on Sunday. It's. I don't think I've maybe said this on the pod. I've never seen Dundee beat Celtic in my life.
You might have said that the
I
other
think
week.
I've maybe mentioned it before, but I think specifically, right, so the first season ticket I got was 2001 2002 season, and one of the last games of the 2000 2001 season, so obviously the season before, Dundee played Celtic at Parkhead and beat them 2-0 or 2-1. Caballero scored a double, and that was the last time they beat them. So effectively, the last time Dundee played Celtic, where I didn't have a season ticket, granted it was away from home, was the last time Dundee won against Celtic. So ever since I've had a season ticket, they've never beat them.
Maybe just give up your season ticket.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Now, last season, they should have beat them. They were 3-2 up against them with not long to go, and Mo Silla decided to throw his stupid long arm in the way, and they got a penalty, not surprisingly, and got a draw out of it. But that was one of the closest times I've seen. Uh, Now Dundee weren't great last season. They couldn't have kept the ball at the net, but at least they were capable of scoring goals. I can't see anything, Jack. I can't see anything other than a comfortable Celtic win. Dundee didn't have an attacking threat, and they'll set up more rigid than they did at Pataudry. I think this season they've not been conceding many goals because Stephen Presley's had the handbrake on. He released the handbrake slightly for the game at Pataudry, and that's what happened. And
yeah.
he come out and said it. He said it's on me that I tried to be a bit more adventurous, and yeah, this happened. I think Dundee fans are just going to have to get used to the idea that if they're wanting to pick up points here and there, it's going to be a fucking tough watch this season.
There's
It's
no
going to,
tough watch every season.
well, this season more than most. I think it's going to be one of them where it's going to be every point that we get is going to be a battle. It's going to be a slog to watch, and I think we're just going to have to get used to that fact.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I seen Presley was talking up a little bit about Aqua today or yesterday in the paper, saying that he actually rates him really highly technically. He thinks he's a very good technically player, and that it's his physicality that lets him down a bit, and that's what he's training him on. I don't know what your opinion is on that.
That's handy when he's 6'5" and built like the side of a house.
Yeah, so it was interesting that he mentioned him. Also seen that you've got Garza coming back for the under-20s World Cup. I
I'll
don't know
tell
whether
you,
he'll play, but
I'll tell you something, Jack. I'm actually going to be a bit of a Garza fanboy here. I honestly think he adds so much to their team. He's a January to January loan, so obviously half of last season with Tony Dock, and then this first half of this season with Stephen Presley. And he's not featured very much. Like, he's come on as a sub against Hibs, come on as a sub against Kelly. I honestly think I think he played in that 3-3 game against Celtic actually early on when he signed. He adds something different that we don't have. He's gets about, he gets stuck in, and he's more than anything else, he presses well. There's nobody in Dundee's midfield that presses well. Honestly, if I was Presley, I'd stick him right in.
mm,
I know that Digby has been out for a couple of months with a calf injury. He was on the bench at Pittodrie, so he's obviously not match fit. He played in Graham Webster's testimonial up at Links Park against Montrose earlier in the week, or last week, sorry. So he's obviously getting a wee bit of game time. I would stick him in, stick Ethan Hamilton in, and Garza, and go with them three in midfield. I think Finn Robertson needs dropped. He wasn't great against Aberdeen. Hasn't been in the past few weeks. Callum Jones, there's an argument for him. I think he's a good player. I wouldn't be adverse to him going in. Who else have we got? I can't think off the top of my head who we've got in centre midfield. But yeah, I would stick Garza right back in there. Get him in there alongside Hamilton, who is probably our best player at the moment, and Paul Digby, because Paul Digby's more defensive minded. And then, I mean, I've been screaming for them to go 4-5-1. I think they should drop Yandanda for Sunday, because as much as he's a great player for a bit of creativity, if the going gets tough, like what happened at Pittodrie, he's a passenger.
yeah,
So I would probably play Congreve on the right and Yogan on the Yogan on the left, just for out balls, and play a flat back four, a flat midfield five, and then oh, see everything in me wants to say play Aqua up front by himself,
mm,
because he's got that he's got that physique where you would say, like a Lyndon Dykes for Scotland, you get the ball into him, he'll either win his flick-ons or take the ball in, hold off the defenders whilst the midfield gets up with him and play off him. But that's, as Stephen Presley said, that's no his game. So
yeah,
what do you do? I mean, he's obviously going to play Simon Murray. Simon Murray can occupy defenders in different ways, but the problem with Simon Murray is that he does this all the time, by the way. And I love Simon Murray a bit. I think he's a great player. I find it very difficult to criticise him, but he does this thing all the time, and it blathers the life out of me, right? Where he'll stand, but so a long ball will be played up to him from whoever, right?
yeah,
And he'll stand and stand and stand with the centre half or whatever, and then at the very last minute he'll spin in behind,
mm-hmm,
like he's waiting for the centre half to miss it. And 99.999 times out of 100, the centre half doesn't miss it.
yeah,
It's like Sunday league strikers.
mm,
Yeah, that bothers me. I don't know why he does that. Just back into the defender and make his header hard.
yeah.
I
Put
mean,
pressure on him.
who am I to tell Simon Murray how to play his position? But yeah, that does bother me. Yeah, that would be what I would do. I'd play a flat back four with. I tell you what, I'd bring in Aaron Donnelly. I think Presley fancies him at all. I think Aaron Donnelly's one of our best defenders, and I feel like if he's not falling out with Presley, that he's only not playing because we've got too many left-sided defenders, and he fancies one or two of them more than he fancies Donnelly.
Mm,
But I would play Dre right back, Ashley, Clark Robertson, and Donnelly at left back, because he's not a left back, he's a centre half, but he's far better than the boy Samuels. The boy Samuels is dreadful. And I didn't like coming on here and caning players and like slaughtering into professionals and slaughtering into my own team. But that Samuels is I just didn't think he's good enough, eh? In the nicest possible way, I didn't think he's good enough.
Yeah, I mind just saying that he's got a good ball on like set pieces, but that's really it.
But that's disappeared. Like, I mean, I only seen one League Cup game. I seen the game away at Bonnyrigg, and I think he had 2 assists from 2 crosses. But there was games at Dens where they were scoring off his corners and whatever. I just, uh, ever since that, like, people were getting excited about him. He's dead ball. I don't think he's had a good crossing in the box since. And I mean, the boy Congreve, by the way, for as much as I really like him, he's got a bit of creativity in him. He could run at players. He could cut in good left foot on him. Well, I'm going to totally go against that. He must be absolutely brilliant at crosses in training from corners, because there can't be any other reason for him taking corners. He took about three. He took about 3 corners at St Mirren, and maybe another 3 or 4 at Batodre, and every single one of them was garbage.
Yeah.
So his corners during the week at training must be outstanding. He must be like a left-footed Beckham.
I wonder if it's what was wrong with the corners. Were they just going too far or not beating the first man?
They
Or
weren't
what was
beating the
it?
first man. The ones at St Mirren were like that because they were our end when we were looking for an equaliser towards the end of the game, and we were getting corners, and it was just like, you know what it was like? It was like they'd stuck like a 13 or 14-year-old playing 11 asides for the first time out to a corner, and he just didn't have the strength within his legs to make the box. So
Mm.
by the time it got to the first defender, just slightly in front of the front post, it was like hip height. So they were just clearing the ball away.
Yeah,
That was what it was
that's not
like.
great.
It's like he's
Yeah,
trying to like almost dink it into the box with like next no pace on it, and he's just not getting the height.
maybe.
It was a strange one. But then after that, he then he then takes them all at Pataudry as well, and none of them were good either. And you're like, have we got anybody in this team who could cross the football?
I feel like that's a problem with most teams, to be honest. Like, I feel like even at United, the ball never beats the first man at least 50% of the time, which is really poor if you ask me. Like, you literally have all the time in the world, essentially, to get a ball into the box. Like, you can line it up, whatever, and half the time it doesn't even beat the first man. I don't know if that's, like, a technique to try and do in training, and, like, there's set pieces where the play it short, attacking player attacks the ball at the near man, and he tries to flick it on, and they're just not getting there in time. I don't know how it works, but a lot of times I've noticed that the ball doesn't beat the first man, and Cama Congreve's obviously part of that list. I'm interested to know why Samuels doesn't really take the corners. If he was the best at it.
Oh, God knows. God knows. I mean, there
Yeah.
was one where, and this is nothing to do with corners, this is just generally why I feel like, I mean, it gives you a heart attack every time he goes near the bar. Um, there was a cross in the first half at Pataudry, and it must have been in amongst other goals. And from the left hand side, their left hand side, so he was the back post defender coming in from left back, and he had a free header. It was probably about 6 yards out, or he was standing on the 6 yard line, and all he had to do was header the ball out the box, header the ball out for a corner, header the ball back to where it came from and out for a throw in. Any of them, anything other than what he did. He came in and he headed it, and it went right into the air and looped
Mm.
above him. And then John McCracken, who's allergic to coming off his lines, running around flapping, and it just caused absolute carnage. And I think he actually ended up clearing it, Samuels, but it's just unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
And I think he did try playing Graham there. Now Graham's started the season well. He scored against Motherwell a couple of weeks ago. He's still a young guy, and he's going to go on to have a very good career, I think. But I think now's the time where you take him out for a week or two, and then introduce him back in,
Mm.
and just put Donnelly in there instead of him and see how it works. That's what I would say. But anyway, score prediction. What do you reckon? Actually, I'll go first because you went first to the United one, so I'll go first here.
Yep.
I think it'll be 3-0 Celtic. What do you think?
I was going to say the exact same score. I'll change it then. I'll go. I was thinking three. I'll go. I'll go 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah,
Okay. Like Simon Murray will get a penalty in like injury time or something.
maybe something like that because I
To be
didn't see us
honest,
going either way.
to be honest with you, right, I don't think I'd have to. I think I was speaking about this to somebody. I think it was maybe Martin at the Scotland game. But I would really have to think about this. I don't think I've ever seen Dundee have a penalty against Celtic.
Wouldn't surprise me. It's Old Firm.
I honestly don't think I've seen. Off the top of my head, I've seen them have one against Rangers and they missed it. But I don't think I've ever seen them have a penalty against Celtic. I would have to think about that, but I don't think they have. Anyway, we'll move on to, as usual, the Futbology Challenge. Now, we may or may not have some results to give people some points this week.
Interesting.
As usual, the league table and this week's results will appear on screen now. So, Martin and Jack both attended the same match. That was the only match each for the day, and that was a game in 2018. It was Partick Thistle 1, Dundee United 2. So Martin moves on to 9 points, but more importantly, Jack moves on to 6 with his first victory of the season.
Let's go!
I had my first forfeit week of the season. So yeah, I've had a couple of them in the past few days. I've checked every day, but obviously it's international break this time of year. I'm surprised they didn't have a game though, because watching Dundee in the first division so much, I'm very surprised they didn't. But we'll move on to the details of your game, Jack and Martin's. It was from Saturday, October 13th, 2018. A crowd of 3,087 were at Firhill. The team managers now, for Partick Thistle, it has Jerry Britton. I could only assume that they were in between managers at the time. United's was Robbie Nielsen. The team for Partick Thistle was Cammy Bell, James Penrice, Christy Elliott, Niall Keown, Sean McGinty, Chris Erskine, Craig Slater, Stuart Bannigan, Blair Spittle, Miles Story, and Chris Doolan. And on the bench, Bryce Ntwambe, Callum Wilson, Jai Katongo, Andrea Mabuyi Mutombo, Max Melbourne, Andrew McCarthy, and Jamie Snedden. And United's team now, Jack. I reckon when I do this for the Neil McCann era, I get the shivers down my spine. I reckon you might get similar here, right?
Well, I think I know one name on the sheet already.
Well, I didn't recognise half of them. Most of them are on the bench. So you've got Benji Siegrist, Fraser Aird, Callum Booth, Rashid Buhena, Frederick Franz, Paul Watson, Fraser Fivey, Billy King, Sam Stanton, Paul McMillan, and Pavel Safranko. And on the bench, you've got Matej Rakovan, Jamie Robson, Adam Barton, Christoph Rabish, Nicky Clark, Craig Curran, and Yannick Luemba.
Wow.
The scorers, just before we let you in, Jack, were Safranko on 45, amazingly Fraser Aird on 48, and for Partick Thistle, Katongo on 77. Jack, digress.
So, interesting that you say amazing that Aird scored. I actually thought Fraser Aird had a really good game that day. I actually kind of remember it and thinking, oh wow, he's actually a pretty good player.
I can't believe you remember this, by the way.
I know. How times changed me, eh? How things changed.
We didn't win our breaks.
Yeah, I know. I think I remember it because it was Robbie Nielsen's. It was like the first time I'd seen Robbie Nielsen as manager for United, and I wanted to go to the game. I was like, I'll go see it, and I went with Martin. I'm pretty sure, and yeah, it was a. I think it was an okay game. I think United played pretty well. Some players in that team turned out to be pretty good. Most of them rubbish. Christoph rubbish by name, rubbish by nature. But yeah, I think it was quite a good game, if I recall correctly. I was quite impressed with Robbie Nielsen, the way he set up, the way he had the team playing. Obviously, boys like Benji Siegrist and that ended up having really good careers in United. We were only there for 2-3 seasons, but he was absolutely solid. Pavel Safranko was a good striker at that level. Boys like Fraser Aird and that, obviously, maybe not so good. But yeah, it is a game that I kind of remember, amazingly.
Running through them, am I right in saying, like, the boy Pablo Safranco, I do remember him. I do remember him scoring a few goals for United. But what I remember about him the most, I say remember, but probably know him for the most is probably the right way to phrase it, is that every single transfer window a United fan on Twitter wants him to sign again.
Yep, that's true. Every window he gets linked to a move to United.
How old is he? He's
probably 34 or something now.
94, November the 16th, 94, so he'll be 31.
Maybe 32, yeah.
He's away to being 31.
Oh, well, he's playing in, I think he's playing in Azerbaijan or something just now, so
right.
he'll be on pretty good money over there. So I don't think we'll have any chance of signing him.
I'll look at
yeah. I actually like the boy Rashid Buena at the back. I thought he was quite solid.
Funny you say that. So, what I remember about him was the playoff games against St Mirren. And he was a bit of a Rolls Royce type player, wasn't he?
Yeah, I actually rated him.
I thought he was a decent player. I didn't remember anything else other than them 2 games or when he left or whatever. I'm just waiting to see where he is now, or if he's still playing.
He might be retired or he's in Algeria or something. That's where he was from, so...
He's only 31. He's 34. 34. Well, according to Wikipedia, he's not had a club since last year, and it was... this is going to be a great test for me. Palaihnica Ayase in Romania.
Oh, yeah. Romania, yeah.
Since he's left United, he's had 5 clubs. One of them being Sepsi OSK.
Yeah, that's who Safranco signed for after United.
Right, and then he went to Cluj, and then he went to the new version of Steaua Bucharest, FCSB.
Yep.
And then Ionikos from Greece.
Yeah.
And then that team that I'm not saying again, because if I think I say that, my desk might start floating.
Well, 3 or 4... well, 3 or 4 of them were actually pretty good clubs, like Steaua Bucharest.
Yeah.
Obviously a big club. Cluj, have been historically quite a big club, so he was obviously a decent player.
And he started his career, he didn't play a game, but between 11 and 13 he was at Doncaster Rovers.
That's interesting.
It was very, very random.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I quite rated him. Yannick Lemba, the boy who famously, after joining United, within like 2 weeks of being here, claimed he was going to sing for Celtic or Rangers.
Right. And that's the way to endear yourself to the fans, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. He was rubbish. So yeah, that's an interesting lineup. I'm not really surprised we never got promoted, let's be honest.
Yeah. If you go on to the facts side of that particular game, it has United in 4th in the Championship, below Ayr, Ross County and Inverness.
Yeah, it wasn't a great season.
And a pretty dog shit Championship as well, because it's Ayr, Ross County, Inverness, United, Dunfermline, Queen of the South, Morton, Partick Thistle, Alloa and Falkirk.
Yeah. Christ.
Not great at all.
Nope.
But anyway, that has moved Jack off the bottom of the league now 2 points ahead of me with a far superior goal difference. But I suppose the good thing about a forfeit is that I only get a 1-0 loss rather than a 3-0 loss or a 4-0 loss. Or I just can't wait for later in the season. It's round about March when I get that on this day and it's Dundee 0, Aberdeen 7. Because it's guaranteed to happen, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's surer. Anyway, that's that for the week, Jack. We're actually speaking yesterday on the way through in the car to the Scotland game, me and Ross. We were speaking about the new Football Manager. Are you getting the new Football Manager?
I might. I'll have to see what it looks like first.
See, I think that it's going to snooker a lot of people with the amount of storage and all sorts that it's going to take.
Yeah.
With a new game engine, but after obviously last year's being cancelled, I'm quite looking forward to it for a wee change because the one that I'm playing just now on, what would it be, 2023's version? It's becoming a wee bit stale now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've stopped playing it quite a bit ago. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the new one. Obviously, it's basically just a whole new game, so that'll be interesting.
See, they've taken stuff out of it, so you're getting the women's football in it now, but you're not getting international management. I think
I've seen that.
They said that they're taking it away because they didn't want to have it at the level that it would be at, but it's going to come back eventually, I think.
Yeah, I think they were just saying it's not as engaging as they want it to be, which is fair. I feel like international management in general is not very engaging, so
I've done a handful of international saves on it through the years and I've always quite enjoyed it, but I know that it's not the best feature of the game.
Yeah.
Although what I really would like them to do is add more to the Scottish pyramid without you having to go and do it yourself.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of the extended leagues in Scotland.
I do like that. Are we going to do another save this year?
If you want.
We should do a Scottish one this time, I think.
That's fine. That'll be North End or something.
Oh dear. Okay, so yeah, that wraps up episode 16 of the Futbology Challenge. As usual, if you can give us a follow on our socials, on Instagram we are at the Sandeman Street Pod, and on Twitter we are at Sandeman ST Pod. If you're listening on YouTube, could you like this video, subscribe to our channel? Anything else to say, Jack?
Nothing here.
Nothing here either. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week when we're talking about Dundee's first ever victory against Celtic that I've seen. Bye for now.